everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kara. If you are new here, hi, hello. So today we're gonna be doing a little bit of a come book shopping with me video slash little mini book haul. I have some Barnes & Noble gift cards that I've been saving since my birthday, and I have a book that I need to go get for a book club at Barnes & Noble that I've just been meaning to do over the last week, and I thought what better time to do it than spend my gift cards and talk to you guys about the books that I'm gonna get. I also have a little mini stack of books here that I've been collecting over the last 3 months or so. I got a few books from my trip to Ireland. I also have just been kind of collecting a little stack of pre-orders that I have had, and a fairy loot box, a special edition book that I've been super excited about that I haven't opened up yet. So I thought that I would just take you along for the ride. So I'm gonna get to the book haul after I get back from Barnes & Noble, but without further ado, shall we go to Barnes, AKA my happy place, my home, my love. I'm so excited that I have gift cards. Okay, let's go. So I am back from Barnes & Noble. I kind of went in there with a plan of like, I knew the books that I wanted to get and basically just like beelined places, because otherwise if I spend too much time in Barnes & Noble, I end up walking out with much more than I intended to, and that still applied here, okay? Did only intend to get one book, ended up getting 3 books, okay? You know what? That's just how it goes. I had a gift card, okay? It's all good, it's fine. The first book that I went into Barnes & Noble for, and literally the reason I went to Barnes & Noble was so I could get Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, which is a signed copy, by the way. This was the book that was picked out for my book club. I have not an online book club, although would be interested in doing one of those. This is an in-person book club I have with my sister, a few of my friends, and we read a bunch of different stuff between fantasy romance, literary fiction, murder mysteries, all this. Like, we literally read whatever anyone is interested in reading in the month. My best friend picked out this book to read, and she like was over at my house the other day and she was like, Kara, just read the first line of this book and you're gonna cry. So therefore, I'm going to read you the first line of this book. A sister is not a friend. Who can explain the urge to take a relationship as primal and complex as a sibling and reduce it to something as replaceable and banal as a friend? Yet this status is used again and again to connotate the highest intimacy. My mother is my best friend. My husband is my best friend. No. True sisterhood, the kind where you grew fingernails in the same womb or pushed screaming through identical birth canals, is not the same as friendship. Okay, that was like the first half of the paragraph. But like, if you are someone who has a sister, I think this is a required read, okay? I have a sister, I have a younger sister, and I already, from reading the first paragraph alone, going to cry. All right, this book is going to change my being. The cells will turn over in my body from reading this book. This is Coco Mellors. I believe this is her second book release. She also wrote Cleopatra and Frankenstein, which I still haven't read yet, but I think that this book is probably gonna push me to read that. Briefly, what I do know about this book is it's about 4 sisters, and one of the sisters passes away, and all 3 of them are now coming together for their sister's funeral. And I think it's just going to like explore a lot of feelings, okay? We're gonna be talking about grief. We're gonna be talking about family. We're gonna be talking about loss. We're gonna be talking about like the meaning of life. Buckle up, okay? I am strapped in. I am ready to go. This book is going to rock me to my core and forever change me as a human being. So to start off the book haul on a great note, I'm super excited to read this. My book club's not till the end of October, but I think I'm gonna start this sooner rather than later because I'm just cannot wait. This is the book that I need. It is not Brat Summer anymore. It is Seasonal Depression, okay? I can't wait. I've been in such an existential mood if you've watched some of my reading vlogs lately, and I think this book is gonna just continue on that vibe, you know? The next book that I got at Barnes & Noble is a book that I have been seeing on so many like best fiction lists. I think it was on the New York Times like best fiction books of the 21st century list. And while I was in Barnes & Noble, 2 of the Barnes & Noble employees did recommend this book and said, you should read that book. I read it for my book club, it's really great. And that is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This book, I think, did this win the Booker Prize? No, it won the Pulitzer Prize, okay? This is a very, very well-renowned book and it's kind of getting all the buzz right now. Basically, Demon Copperhead is a retelling of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, and David Copperfield is about Charles Dickens' experience as a survivor of poverty and its damages to children in his society. And I think this book deals with a lot of hard-hitting topics such as child labor, addiction, crushing losses, disastrous loves. I mean, again, going off of vibes of this book, I'm feeling very in my literary fiction era, okay? I have come full circle. Back to my roots of literary fiction, I am super, super interested in reading this, and just like the fact that so many people have given this book such great reviews. I don't know about you, but I was quite inspired by that New York Times list coming out of like the best fiction books of the 21st century and like the best fiction book and the best books of our time. It's inspired my interest in a lot of books that I typically wouldn't just pick up watching BookTube. And so I'm really, really interested in getting to this one, hopefully sometime soon. I need a hard-hitting literary fiction in my life that's gonna rock me to my core. Next book is no exception to that, okay? And then last one I got was Pachenko, which I know was also a New York Times top fiction books of the 21st century. Pachenko is a family generational saga set in the early 1900s about a Korean woman who finds out she's pregnant and then ends up abandoning her entire family and her father of her child to go to Japan. And then basically that decision for her to accept this marriage proposal changes the course of her family for generations, and it's kind of about all of that stuff. So I'm really, really interested in reading this. I need a book that's gonna hit hard, okay? Now, playing off of Pachenko, I was on TikTok or Instagram Reels or something like that, and I saw an interview with this author. And one of the questions this author was asked was, what is like your favorite book of all time? Or is there a book that you like really stands out to you and is a very great work of art? And she said Middlemarch by George Eliot. So I ended up getting Middlemarch. You see a theme here, okay? And basically the author of this book, Min Jin Lee, was saying that this is a masterpiece in storytelling. And that really piqued my interest. Middlemarch is by George Eliot, and which I just recently found out. You guys, I'm learning so many things. Okay, George Eliot is a woman and that is a pen name. I didn't know that. I have been under a rock. I don't know much about classics. I didn't study English literature outside of high school, and I'm just feeling like I'm discovering an entire world out there for me. Now, did I read 20 pages of this book and fully need to concentrate on the words, because the way that books were written in the 1900s and like early classic literature, my brain needs to sit there and turn its gears to understand what's going on. Yes, it took me so long to understand those first 20 pages, and this may be very difficult for me to read, okay? So as far as what this book is about, it follows a handful of different people after the first Reform Bill of 1832. I know one woman ends up wanting to marry a doctor or something, and she like is grappling with like her social status or something along those lines. You know what? I don't know how this book is gonna go for me, to be honest with you, but like I want to try something new, and why not? Why not? Going on to some of the other books that I picked up while I was in Ireland, I didn't pick up a whole lot of books because I obviously had to bring them back home and had limited space in my luggage. But the next one I got was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is the original like paperback edition from the UK. I don't own any of the UK editions, but I love going into independent bookstores when I'm traveling literally anywhere, and I thought it would be kind of a fun collecting hunt, I guess, when I go to Europe and try and find copies of this book in independent bookstores. I thought it could be fun. You know, on each trip I would find a different book and then I can remember when I got that book. We're not talking about J.K. Rowling, okay? I don't want to talk about that at all, but the way that this book impacted me as a child, this book shaped me as a human. It did. I won't lie about that. Last book that I got when I was in Ireland was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. This finally completes my Sally Rooney collection. I have both her other books, Normal People and Beautiful World, Where Are You? I really wanted to get Normal People in the UK edition, but I already have 2 copies of that book and I was just like, it feels a little bit excessive to get a 3rd copy. So I ended up getting Conversations with Friends, which I didn't have, but I have read this book before. This is Sally Rooney's first release, kind of about 4 friends and just their life. Sally Rooney is an Irish author, and so I thought what a more fitting place to pick up this book than Ireland. And I cannot wait for her new release, Intermezzo, which I think is coming out in October. This would be part of that haul because I did pre-order that book, but it's not October yet. So yeah, just pick this one up as well. Next book I got was a pre-order, along with that pre-order from Intermezzo. You know what? Back in April, Barnes & Noble was having a pre-order sale and I ordered 3 different books that are supposed to be coming over the next handful of months. So the first one that I got was Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. This is the Barnes & Noble, I think this is their exclusive edition. This book is the follow-up to, oh my God, House in the Cerulean Sea, which one of my favorite books, like literally ever. I want to read that book again before I start Somewhere Beyond the Sea. You know what? If you don't know who TJ Klune is, get on it. TJ Klune gives me the feelings of how I felt when I read Harry Potter for the first time and like middle grade for the first time. It gives me those, it just brings all of those really nostalgic feelings back as a child discovering fiction, fantasy, and books for the first time. And to evoke those emotions in a reader is just, I gotta give it to TJ Klune because I don't get those kinds of feelings often where I just feel so nostalgic for something that I know I don't have nostalgia for. But TJ Klune definitely pulls those feelings of me reading a middle grade when I was in 2nd grade. You know, like oh, it just makes my heart so happy. And that's how I felt when I read House in the Cerulean Sea. So of course I had to pick up the 2nd book or the follow-up book to on House in the Cerulean Sea. And beautiful sprayed edges. Really, really excited. And I love the size of this book too. It's just like the perfect little, like, you know, it's like the perfect little, cute little book. It's not too big, it's not too small. So cannot wait to get to this one. Next up is a book that I'm actually currently reading right now, and that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This was a book that my book club read for last month, but guess what? I ended up getting sick and I couldn't go to that book club. And you know what? It kind of turned out to be a good thing because I didn't finish the book. So I'm currently reading it right now. I am about like 100 pages in and I am really enjoying this. Basically, this feels like Hunger Games. It is about our main character, Peyton, who is a mundane or an ordinary in this world where people are elites. Everyone has a type of magical power, but then there are non-magical folk called ordinaries, and she is an ordinary, but she is masking herself as a mundane, which is like basically someone who has a very mundane power, okay? In the start of the book, you see her kind of like on the streets. She's kind of trying to just like scrounge for a living. She's trying to hustle people and steal money off of people, and she ends up saving one of the prince's lives, Kai, who is the main love interest in this book. And after she ends up saving that person, the city ends up starting to notice who she is. There was like this big scene that happened when she saved him, and she ends up getting entered into, I think it's called the Purging Trials, where it's essentially the Hunger Games. A bunch of teenagers are getting together to fight for something, and I don't really know what, but there's gonna be a Hunger Games style competition, and of course she's gonna end up, you know, forming an enemies to lovers romance with this guy, and the rest is history. You know what I mean? I am really enjoying this book so far, and I have just kind of been casually reading it over the last week or so, and definitely going to be finishing it. I have a feeling I'm gonna give it at least a high 3-star, if not 4-star. Yeah, wanted to pick the first one up in this one, and then I probably am going to get Reckless, which is the follow-up to this. And last but not least, I have an unboxing. I have rarely ordered from Fairy Loot, but there was a book that I read about a month ago or 2 months ago or so, and came out on Fairy Loot. And I didn't even finish the book yet, but I had read 100 pages of this book and I was like, I need this Fairy Loot copy in my life. So I did order it, and now I'm going to show you what that book is. You guys, I'm so excited. I've been dying for this. I've been waiting like at least 3 months. God. It's When the Moon Hatched by Sarah Parker. Stop it. Look, look, look. I'm I am dead and gone and buried. Oh my God. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm just diseased. Oh my God, this is gorgeous. This is so stunning. Oh. Now, while these are not the exact representations of how I picture these characters in my head, they are very, very close. Oh my God, wait, look at it without the cover. Oh my God, I love owning special editions. And it's ombre too. It's ombre. It fades from like teal to purple. This is gorgeous. I can't get over that. That is some vibrancy right there. I really don't order from Fairy Loot like ever. I don't know. I was reading this book at the time when this came out and I was just like, purchase. Didn't even think about it. I knew I had to have it. If you don't know what this book is about, it's essentially a huge, like, high fantasy, but it's a fantasy romance. Like, we got the world building of an epic fantasy, but it's a fantasy romance at its core, which is like my favorite way to experience fantasy romance. There is a huge fantastical plot to it, and it just feels like an epic fantasy, but like the way that the romance is done in this book, it's enemies to lovers, it's really beautiful, and it's just like the world blooms in my head. It is stunning, it is magical, there are dragons, it's just like I can literally picture this world in my head so vividly, and I just was absolutely obsessed with it. I think this might be one of my favorite books of the year, if not the favorite book of the year. So if you like fantasy romance, you need to get on this book. So all in all, that was like 9 books that I hauled, and I'm really trying to cut back more on buying physical copies of books. So I'm really probably going to be doing more of these like kind of mini book hauls showing you the things that I've accumulated over the last like handful of months or whatever, because I just don't buy that many books anymore. I really try and utilize the library or Kindle Unlimited or stuff like that, rather than purchasing physical books. If you guys have made it this far into the video, leave a tea or a coffee emoji, because I did pour myself a cup of tea before I sat down to film the last part of this video, which I haven't drank yet because it's boiling hot and it's 100 degrees out here. I hope you guys have a great day or night wherever you are, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace and love, everyone. Bye.